Okay, I'm listening, Tina.
So the scanner when you had to put your first through the thing.
Uh-huh.
And they when I put my thing on the in the scanner thing, my book bag, I had whatever in my pockets, I put it in a tray. But the book bag went through, right?
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, I look at the woman and the shells, right?
Uh-huh.
And I went in my went in my book bag and handed him a knife. The woman say, he talking about me to her. He talking about, the woman said, where you get that from? I say, out of my book bag. She said, what? Wait a minute. She said, how you do that? So she looked, so I gave it to her, and she was like, thank you. So she tell me what floor to go to, or whatever, right?
Right.
So I do what I do. I come back down. She said, how did you do that? Well, no, but it's wrapped up, right? It's
Uh-huh.
extra wrapped up, right?
Uh-huh.
Paper towels and shit now, right?
Right.
She said, when you left, she said, I looked at it again and I did not see nothing in there. She said, how did you do that? I said, grandmother take me. She said, she said, and then I told her, I only did it, gave it to you because you one of us, right?
Right.
And then she was like, I thank you, Denise. I said, I'll try to be honest. She said, I looked at that sucker. Me and my officers, we looked at that sucker about 2 or 3 times. Like, how did she, I said, I'll try to be honest. She said, keep it up.
Right.
But that older woman was too sharp, boy. Them dudes, them sheriffs,
Yeah.
how did you, you know, the book bag is supposed to scan everything.
Yeah. So how do you do that? What do you wrap it up in
Well,
for it to miss it?
it was wrapped up in
Hello, y'all. This is another phone chronicle,
plastic tape. You
y'all.
know how when you buy
You know how I do these phone
what you call that, a
chronicles.
saran wrap,
Uh-huh. The fall.
not the foil, not the aluminum foil, the saran wrap, the plastic wrap.
Uh-huh.
You wrap it up like 5 times. And it on your chest.
Oh, okay.
That's one way. Sometimes if they got the real new technology, sometimes it's something, but it won't show.
Right.
And then I got a inside pocket too, but it's supposed to, it showed everything else. Cause she showed it to. But it didn't.
Please
She
click a
showed
like,
like.
y'all. This is another phone chronicle. You know, I do these sometimes here. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all.
She said,
Welcome
I've been
back to
spraying
Advanced Insight
for
Channel.
25 years.
Uh, yeah, nowadays they got the metal detector for everything. Hello, Natalie, my moderator. Hello, beautiful. Natalie, I also wanted to thank you yesterday because I reviewed that live. Beautiful Friday to you too, beautiful. I reviewed the live, that one of the lives I did yesterday, the last one. So I wanted to thank you for mentioning the gang association stuff, because on that live, I didn't say thank you for that. So I'm thanking you here. What I do, I at least review my own live once or twice, which means that on an average of every live, two of the views are actually mine. So yeah, my sister, the phone went out. So two of the views are actually mine. Um, she'll call right back. Um, so she was telling me some stuff about she got a friend that's going through a situation with her daughter. And so how we view parents, right? So a parent is just another human. Once a person gets of age, so I'll give you an example. Like when I I had my firstborn daughter at 15. I started working. I was almost 16 when I had my daughter. So I started working at 16. Once I started working, all my clothes and the items for my baby, I was purchasing myself from the job that I was working. Okay. Because I worked part to full time at a Mexican restaurant in St. Louis, Missouri. So my little sister was telling me that one of her friends is going through that with her daughter. So the patterns with this stuff is the kids are older, they're at least teens and older. And from my perspective, you know, when a teenager starts working, that's when they should start contributing. Okay. Some parents may have a lot of money and they may say, okay, you don't have to pay. But then what that parent is doing, they'll be eventually discarded by that child or family member because the child is just another family member. And also, you must keep this in mind. A lot of people don't think about this before they have children. Keep in mind, my own child is only half of my family. That child that I have is half their father. It's not even my full family member. Your child is just part of your bloodline. The same as if you got a niece or nephew. If you got a niece or nephew, it's just part of your bloodline. Thank you so much for the like, Sean.
I'm trying to right back away.
Okay, what you doing?
On the bus talking.
Oh, okay. Bye-bye. Yeah, so she's on the bus talking. So yeah, so it's just part of your bloodline. And so your adult teenage children. Now I do believe, you know, if you're going to choose to keep your child in the home, you're completely responsible for them for their cost as well. But once a person turns 16 years old, some kids work earlier, you know, because they start working for private businesses. I've known children that work at 13 years old, but I think that they should start contributing to the home. And, you know, some parents, they won't do that. But as soon as they stop letting that child use them, because that's what somebody's doing, y'all. Somebody that lives in your residence or that's using you, that doesn't contribute anything, they're using you. That's what they're doing. And as soon as that parent can't offer them something, so say, for example, a parent decides, okay, you can stay here for the rest of your life and never pay rent. But there's, you know how like government sometimes takes over certain properties. I know that this happened with this lady, right? It was up here too. She owned this house for over 40 years. She was retired. The land was bought out. So what they do, they give all the property owners a notice saying that they got to sell their property and move. That can really happen, y'all. This happened to this lady. She was in the church too. She had owned her house 40 years. She tried to fight it, so did the other property owners. It didn't work. So all of them had to sell their house because the state had decided they want to use that land for something else. So all those property owners on that particular street had to sell. So the lady sold her house. She didn't want to. She didn't want to sell her house. She wanted to stay in her house. She had been there 40 years. So, for example, if a parent or anybody, it don't even have to be a parent, if you tell somebody they can stay with you for life and not pay nothing. So when you lose that property, and ain't got nowhere for him to stay, the relationship ends. It's a relationship based on you being a supply source. And those relationships never last. It's unhealthy for the person that's using you, and it's unhealthy for the person that's being the user. It's the worst for the person that's being used. So never, always make someone pay part of what you are offering. They won't respect you. If I was a billionaire, it don't matter who they are, family too. A person does not respect someone that doesn't make them pay their way. And it's not volunteer work when somebody's not paying their work, their way. They're not a volunteer. Even with this channel, y'all see, okay, like right now, Natalie's a moderator, right? But she hasn't given me her Cash App. Natalie, I wish you would give me your Cash App, right? But it's fine. Some people, they just want to volunteer. They don't want to have any financial investment. But what I would recommend, especially in Natalie's case, since she's the only moderator, as monies come in on my channel, Natalie should allow me to give her a little something. It's only fair, right? It's not fair if my channel is bringing in $500 a month and I'm able to start collecting that money from YouTube. Natalie shouldn't keep moderating for free. There's a portion of that 500 that Natalie should get. It's just fair. See, because the free work thing, it don't pay off in the long run. And I just highly suggest people not do it. Now, if I'm saying I'm not getting anything but a couple of Cash Apps here and there, and I'm telling the truth, which I am, then fine. If you want to do it for free, that's fine. But over time, business is business. You know, most volunteer positions do lead to paid positions, y'all. They do. They lead to paid positions. So my sister was giving me an example. So I found out Daniel got another check, right? So remember, he's refused to pay Isaiah and our money. The agreement was all the phone bills that Isaiah and I paid for Daniel, he's to give us that money back. Daniel, he would come clean with paying us at least anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. I would be okay with him paying that back. So remember, I told y'all he got the $3,000, $3,200, only gave us $100 of that. So then there's another check supposedly he's gotten that's like $890. Isaiah ran into Daniel yesterday, and Daniel was showing off the check. It's from the same internship. Now, keep in mind, this new check he has, the new job coach, she couldn't reach Daniel. So I gave her Daniel's new number, that free number that he's using. So just think about it. If I wouldn't have gave her Daniel's new number, there would be no new check, right? Because she just would have, cut Daniel off the program. She would have put a notation in the system saying she can't find Daniel and she doesn't know what to do. So this is what Daniel does, y'all. He buys Isaiah some food, right? And gave Isaiah a fist bump, bought Isaiah some food, and showed Isaiah the check. Now, so this is where we find out one of the parents that's involved. Okay, so there's this boy, there's two brothers, Deshaun and James. and their mother, I think her name's like Jaleesa. So years ago, when they were attending this school, it was a middle school to high school. So the school went from 6th grade to 12th grade. And Daniel ultimately didn't want to be at that school. He decided to go to just the high school. So Daniel was transferred out of that school. But Jaleesa, she was with this stud chick, right? So Jaleesa is bisexual or homosexual, whatever she is. These are her two biological kids, Jashawn and James. So Daniel was with them. So we find out that one of the houses that Daniel be at is at Jaleesa's. Now, back in the day, we were all at this school event, and Jaleesa was telling her little boys, because her boys were like 9 and 11, somewhere around there, 4 to 5 years ago. So she was telling her boys, you see those boys right there? Talking about Elijah and Daniel, my sons. Those are very bad boys. You don't play with those boys. We're at this event in the cafeteria of this school that they all attended. So I let her get it out. So I said, little boys, if it's okay with your mother, I would like to talk to you too. I said, that's great what your mother said. However, what your mother forgot to tell you is how bad she is too, because all the weed that y'all are getting is coming from your mother's house. So what happened was the older teenagers, the middle-aged to older teens, Daniel, Elijah, and other children, because I couldn't figure out for the life of me where they was getting their weed from. Jashawn and James, which were like about 9 and 11, they was stealing the weed from their mom, Jaleesa. So Jashawn and James would steal the weed from their mother's house or their mother's apartment and give it out to the kids and older kids in the community. Okay. So it was just unbelievable that the weed is coming from these two little kids. And so I had a talk with Jaleesa. I said, why don't you lock your marijuana up? Your 9 and 11-year-old, or however old they were 4 or 5 years ago, I said, your 9 and 11-year-old should not have access to your marijuana supply. Get a safe and lock it up. But now all the boys are a little older. So she feel like they old enough to just smoke it all over her house. So one of those apartments where those videos that are surveillance, where you can see all the kids smoking, they're at Jaleesa's house. But she's a substance use person. So now I know where some of it's coming from. And so let me check the comments here. So Natalie says, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, moderator. Beautiful Friday. Natalie says, you're welcome. Natalie says, thank you. You're welcome, Natalie. And then Natalie says, please like, share, and subscribe. Natalie, thank you for making it so colorful and pretty. I love your chat signature. Natalie says, thank you for the likes. Natalie does the laughing emoji. Natalie says, this is making sense. Natalie says, please like, share, and subscribe. Also support by Cash Apping, $ try today 123. Dave Hogland, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. Hello to you. And the moderator, the channel moderator, Natalie, also is saying hello to you at Dave Hogland, 7603. Thank you. Hi to you, Dave. So if you haven't subscribed, Dave, please subscribe and like, share, and subscribe. Okay. The lives here are very interesting. I suggest you go get caught up on the lives so you know the storyline as it progresses. So the thing is, now we know that there is one parent involved, but this parent, I mean, you got somebody else's child in your house, right? So her kids are well groomed. Remember, one of my pet peeves is they in your house. So if they in your house, whether it be your child or someone else's child, I can't have my kids here looking all groomed and got their hair done, and then Daniel looking like woof woof here by the hair. You know, but her kids like biracial looking kids, so they got that straight laid down fucking hair. And then my coarse hair, nappy hair son looking like who what did it, because he needed his dreads done. So he got an $893 check, which, you know, I'm not a dirty hearted person. So when the new job coach called, I gave her Daniel's new number so she can continue paying him. And then she was telling me that she has a substance use program that she could put him in as well. So her goal as a job coach for someone that's came off juvenile probation, and she can release the checks to Daniel now, because remember, the juvenile court order is dismissed the beginning of July. So I no longer am on a court order saying that I'm a guardian and Daniel has to follow my rules. So by law, since that court order is dismissed, she doesn't have to give me Daniel's checks because I requested. She can give Daniel the checks directly to him. That's a pretty big check. $893. That means at this point now he's collected at least $4,000. And he's only given Isaiah and I $100 of our money back. It's not a right way to treat people. It's just not right. We could really use our money back, but Daniel's not going to pay it back. We're not going to see that money. But like I told Isaiah, I commended Isaiah for the way that's one of the things I like about my sons, how they don't overreact. You know, even with Daniel, with the boy sicking the dog on him, telling the dog to bite him, taking Daniel's phone. I mean, that's where they're following upbringing. Don't overreact. Don't get violent. Worth getting locked up. If somebody takes your phone and tells the little dog to bite, you don't want to unalive the person and end up in prison or jail. Same way with Isaiah. Yeah, Daniel ain't paying him the money, but Isaiah had just got off work, so he's blessed anyway. So actually, no, Isaiah had just left the tournament. That was yesterday. So Isaiah had the basketball tournament after he got off work. Right. Thank you so much, Dave Hoglin. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Natalie, Dave's praise Dave for subscribing. If you haven't done it already, talk to him about the subscription. Thank you, Natalie, for that. So now we got some insight, because we were suspecting the whole time that because there was no parent in any of these videos that I'm doing surveillance on. And it is surveillance. You are surveillancing somebody when you have access to certain things and you're watching them from afar. It's surveillance. You're getting to see all the nitty-gritty, y'all. And none of the videos that I've seen are sexual in nature. I just want to point that out. I haven't seen an orgy or anything like that. It's just a lot of dope use. So hold on one second, y'all. Hold on. So Hold on, hold on. Yeah, but yeah, it's so now we know one of the parents, and I'm gonna explain to you. Thank you, Natalie, for your chat and comment today. So hold on one second. I just gotta go downstairs and get my tea to help my voice. I'll be right back, y'all. Break time. Break time. Go get you something to drink. We're going to take a 4-minute break, y'all. A 4-minute break. Get you something to drink. 4-minute break, y'all. 4-minute break. 4-minute break starting right now. That's from the audio YouTube library. So I love the audio YouTube library. It sounds kind of like the Scarface music. Listen to it, y'all. Remember in the Scarface movie with Al Pacino? Thank you so much for the likes. So, remember the music? when he was in the office snorting the cocaine. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you for welcoming me back. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think this is the Scarface movie, y'all. This is called Heaven and Hell. It's right on the audio YouTube library. So if you go on the audio YouTube library, there's like 4 videos in this playlist. And this is good event music, right? So if you're going to be having like events and parties and stuff, check out the audio YouTube library right here. And it's music that I can utilize where I'm not getting a copyright claim. It's not being partially blocked. Oh, Natalie, remember when we used the Million Dollar Babies, the Million Dollar Baby music with Tommy Richland, I think is his name, or Richmond? That video was partially blocked, which means YouTube blocked it where other countries can't see the video. No, they didn't strike it, which I was happy about that. But YouTube gives me a lot of grace. They're very gentle with me, and I'm very grateful because it's probably some things that they should have striked, but they didn't. Because, you know, if you get 3 strikes on your channel within a certain amount of time, your channel's taken down. So, and I have not got a strike because YouTube has to consider to strike you. They consider that your content was not your content. It's hard to strike me because, yeah, I may use a little piece of a song, but what YouTube can never say is that my content came from another channel. You're not going to go to another channel and they're talking about my kids and Jaleesa and Jashawn and James, these people I just named. You're not going to find it. Okay, this channel is very unique to my situation. This channel is not duplicated from anywhere. We just had a video about Miss Angel blowing marijuana smoke up her pit bull nose. You're not going to find that on YouTube. You're just not. You're not going to find, and if you do find it, you're not going to actually find the real conversation that I'm having. And when I'm having Phone Chronicles on here, these are not skits. Okay, these are not skits. This is some real shit. And I will be starting a series on mental retardation because that's the real condition that a lot of Americans have that cause a delay. Yeah, you heard Miss Angel. Go back and rewatch that video, Natalie. And it's much more than somebody just being a narcissistic sociopath. Sometimes a motherfucker is severely retarded. She's blowing that marijuana smoke up that pit bull nose because she's fucking severely retarded. It's a disability, y'all. She thought it was normal. That's what makes it retarded. I'm going to go over the information. I'm going to be doing a video, and I found out how bad that can fuck a pit bull up. And let me point this out. During my study on researching blowing marijuana smoke up the pit bull's nose, guess what it says? When that happens to the pit bull, or any dog, they're supposed to be taken to the veterinarian. That dog is supposed to be taken on an emergency basis. And remember in the video, she claimed that Zeus had blunts before too, even before Zeus came to her. Okay, so, yeah, the dog is supposed to be put in the doggy hospital and taken to the veterinarian. Natalie says, now why would an adult find excitement in that too strange? Well, the excitement that she's going to find in it, because she is getting an excitement out of it, and she's not going to fucking stop it. I had the conversation with her, but she's not going to fucking stop it. She probably going to start doing it to Cupcake and blowing that shit up the girl nose. That's why I'm not going to eat a motherfucking thing from her. That's a bitch that'll poison somebody. She's already poisoning the dogs. It all goes together. If she'll blow marijuana smoke up the pit bull nose, she'll chop rat food up in your fucking food or whatever else. That's a form of poisoning somebody. I studied on that too. So those will be separate videos, but I'm going to be doing the pit bull video about what I learned about the marijuana. I'm going to be doing that this weekend. Okay. But because I'm not severely retarded, I didn't need to study that to know that you don't do that shit. Intelligence. Naturally, you know not to blow. And you know what? You know what's sick to me? Picturing Miss Angel bending down. Remember, to do that shit, she got to get on the ground with the motherfucking dog. She can sit in a chair and do it. She's not no big old morbidly obese woman. She can get down on the ground. She's little. She's only 100 and some pounds. So, and she's on the smaller side of 100 and some pounds. I'm 100 and some pounds too, but I'm on the moderate medium. I'm not on the larger end of it, but I'm in the middle. I'm not no skinny chick. So, but I'm still 100 and some pounds, right? So, but she's petite. So to blow that smoke up the pit bull nose, she got to sit down on her couch or love seat, and she got to hold his head up and put his nose upward towards her face, or she's got to get her black ass on the ground and get right in his fucking face, you know, bend down to him and blow it in his face, blow it up his nose. She's not blowing it in his face. She was very specific. Yeah, and her heavy drug use makes her severely retarded. Remember, you got mild. In any disorder, you got mild. Remember, I have anxiety. So I have mild anxiety. You can have moderate anxiety, which is somewhere in the middle. Then you can have severe anxiety. Now, severe anxiety, I will go over there and beat that bitch's ass for that. So my anxiety is not severe. Because believe it or not, when she's telling me she does that, it is triggering my anxiety. But the good thing is my anxiety is my protector. So the way she triggers my mild anxiety, this is how my anxiety gets triggered. My anxiety tells me, don't eat that bitch food. So see, my anxiety is a gift. I mentioned this before. That bitch could never feed me. I wouldn't give a fuck if she claimed she was preaching with the Pope and she changed and she'll never do another drug. I would never forget that bitch told me that she blows it right up his nose. And the studying I did, she's not the only motherfucker that does that. I just met a motherfucker that does it, which is her. There's other fucking severely retarded fucks that blow motherfucking marijuana smoke up pit bull's nose and other dogs. I did the studying on it. The dog is supposed to see the vet, and you're supposed to tell the vet what's happened to the dog. The dog is supposed to be in the animal hospital. Okay, remember, when online it says the dog needs to see the veterinarian, those are typically called animal hospitals. Veterinarian clinics are also usually animal hospitals. So there's a part of the clinic where they do the surgeries. The dog world is different from the human world. For the humans, we have doctors' offices and clinics, and our hospitals are separate. But in the animal world, the veterinarian, the hospital, the animal hospital is right in the veterinarian clinic. It's just in a separate part. I used to have 2 boxers, and one of them got the girl, Brandy, she got her leg chewed up from the dog that was next door, because Brandy put her leg through the fence. There was an opening in the fence, and her leg went in there, and the dog next door chewed the shit out of our dog's leg. This was decades and decades ago when I was married. So I took Brandy to the animal hospital, which is also the veterinarian clinic. To admit such an act with no concern of how she will be viewed, just terrible. She is showing to be unhinged. That's part of the severe retardation. So she has 2 disorders. She's most likely a sociopath. Because see, your mental retardation alone won't make you do that, even if you're severely retarded. So there's something that she has which would make her have no empathy for the dog. She won't even accept that shit's making Zeus aggressive. Now, remember, I knew that would make him aggressive before I did the study. See, I'm not severely retarded, right? Notice I'm using the word severe. So, and I'm not a sociopath, but I did the research on it, and I'm going to do that video this weekend. What I found was very interesting. Everything that I told her is true. It's right online. I went right to Google and found it. Also, I was amazed to find that, so basically, the dog needs to go to the animal hospital and the veterinarian because they probably need to inject Zeus with some kind of detox solution. He needs to be injected with something so he'll stop going off like that. She said he's bit 9 people. It's right on that live. I said he's bitten 5 to 7, since he's been in her care. But actually, she said he's bitten 9 people. And we're talking about humans, y'all. From my understanding, he's bitten 5 people and 2 animals. But Miss Angel claims he's bitten 9 people. He just bit Cupcake up around the throat. And he's going to continue to snap out until he goes to the animal hospital. But she has no doggy insurance on. She's a broke bitch with a dog. I didn't have doggy insurance on my dogs. When I had 2 boxers, I didn't want those dogs. My ex-husband brought them home. One of those fucking dogs, that boy dog, I'll do a separate video about those animals. That boy dog scared the shit out of me. But my ex-husband had no empathy for me. Boss was the boy dog. I was scared to fucking death of that big old boxer. Back in the day, decades and decades ago, remember that was before everybody was getting the pit bulls. So boxers, full-bred boxers, was on the same level of a pit bull. Them dogs don't fucking play. That boxer, that boss, see, when we got Brandy, she was a 6-week-old little baby. She was like, I wasn't really scared of Brandy, the little one, but that big motherfucking pit bull that my ex-husband brought in, he didn't have no empathy for me. He's a narcissistic sociopath. Nobody does that to their wife that they love. Everybody know I'm fucking scared of dogs. And I'm going to be doing another video to answer Coffee Black's question about the German Shepherd. And I'm going to be doing a video to confirm that, yes, Coffee Black is a normal. Coffee Black left a comment that from her perspective, she's a normal, which means she's low in narcissism and low in empathy, but she still has a little narcissistic traits and a little empathy, but consider normal equals healthy. So when you hear normal personality, which is what HG Tudor teaches of one of the personalities, consider normal to be healthy. Okay. And the next healthiest personality would be an empath, which is what I tested as, and which is what I am. So normals and empaths are the two healthiest. Then you got narcissistic. Remember, narcissistic people, they're pro-predator. Hold on one second. I got this coffee boiling, y'all. So we're going to take another 4-minute break. Okay. Thank you. Don't leave me here. Okay. I'll be right back, Natalie and everyone. Thank you, moderator Natalie. I appreciate you. I'm very grateful for you. Oh, y'all, when I start the retardation playlist, it's going to blow your mind. I got the videos and everything. I am going to literally prove everything I'm saying with real footage. It's not meant to be offensive. I will explain areas how we all have had some form of retardation in our life, especially if you were born and raised in the fucking United States. This is why China don't come over here and they sit out there with their machines to fight us. Because 90% of fucking Americans, we suffer from some form of fucking mental retardation. If it's mild, it's fixable. If it's mild, it's fixable. There will be a delay for a while, and you can outgrow it. I'm going to give you an example of how I was mildly retarded when I was a domestic violence victim. And I thought they was going to stop it. I thought it's a decent person. I was mildly retarded, y'all. I had a delay. But mild retardation, if it's not chemical based and you've been offered some good in your childhood and you're not on drugs, that over time is fixable. I had to get in a second domestic violence relationship with Elijah and Daniel's father because I still was mildly retarded. But that's fixable. But if I would have been a drug abuser, I would be severely retarded like Miss Angel's ass. Yeah, I did the research. I'm going to create a playlist. I'm going to be talking about that Paris Bennett motherfucker that fucking murdered his sister. And let me tell you the motivation of it. I'm so sick of fucking psychopath murderers being called fucking geniuses. It is fucking annoying to me. Yes, I did 20 hours of research on it, Natalie. I'm going to be well prepared. And I just admitted an example of where I even had mild retardation. It's a delay. That's all it is. You can outgrow it. But if you are in America, you were born in a retard country. This is a fucking retard country. Anytime you see people, you got motherfuckers that are killing people over they spot in line at Popeyes chicken. That is a motherfucking retard. When you unalive somebody because they got your spot because you were waiting on fucking Popeyes chicken. That motherfucker's severely retarded. I am going to go over how it's going to be deep. I'm so excited. I did 20 hours of study, and my motivation to do it, I'm sick of Paris Bennett being called a fucking genius. That motherfucking boy at 13 years old murdered his little sister after, in a video, he already said right in front of his mother, Charity, he was going to kill his little sister. And Charity is fucking retarded too. Paris Bennett mother, she is moderately retarded. Not severely, but moderately. That fucking retarded bitch, Charity, which is Paris Bennett mom, after that motherfucking nigga, Paris Bennett white, but he a nigga. After that motherfucking psychopathic retard has murdered her 4-year-old daughter, she's had another son since he's been in the penitentiary, and she lets Paris Bennett talk to her other fucking child. And then Paris Bennett. It's a famous case. I have a Paris Bennett playlist on here. Go to my Paris playlist. I will be using that playlist. So my motivation, if somebody else called that motherfucker a genius one more time, I'm going to fuck it. And I'll put the playlist in the description box here, Natalie. You don't even have to go find it. Give me like an hour when this video ends to update the playlist. I'll put it right in the description box. And you could click on it. So, because I got hundreds and hundreds of playlists. So I'll put it in the description box within an hour of this video ending. So you don't even have to search. But yeah, Paris Bennett. I will be giving you, like I said, I already did 20 hours of study. And I'm very deep to do this and motivated to do it because remember, I had a disabled brother. Now, they have considered cerebral palsy not to be a mental retardation. There's been updates. Down syndrome, however, is considered to be a mental retardation. And most people with Down syndrome will usually be severely retarded. Okay. But cerebral palsy, they had to take that one off the list now because it's clear some people with cerebral palsy will have mild, moderate, or severe retardation. But they had to take cerebral palsy off the list because your leg being crooked alone does not make you mentally retarded. You got a disability. Your leg is fucked up. Okay. A person with cerebral palsy, they can get a channel and have it monetized in 2 months and get 1 million subscribers and views by 6 months. So I'm the fucking retard because I can't pull that off. Right. So and it's best for me not to pull that off. I love my channel. I like to focus on individuals. I'm like the mom and pop shop. So the Lord doesn't give me more than I can handle. I can't handle all that. And actually, I understand how you can have 1 million subscribers and reach less people. More people are following my advice than, see, I don't really want the views, right? I uploaded videos. Let me tell you why I stopped showing my face as much. I did some videos on my channel. One video, I got 13,000 views. But I knew that I got those views because they were looking at me. See, I don't want the views because somebody's looking at me. I want the view because of what I'm teaching. So I'm actually able to reach more people, not showing my face as much. I could show my face every day. And I'm not saying I'm pretty, but if I show my face and body, YouTube will put me in the algorithm more. I'll get the 13,000 views. But that don't mean none of the people listened. So Hold on one second, y'all. I gotta get this. I'm drinking this tea, so let me go get the coffee. Okay, I'll be right back. 4-minute break. Natalie, you look, the 20 hours of research I did. And see, I'm a wonderful person to do research because I'm able to reflect. After I did my study, and I'm talking about reading, I read, right? I said, oh shit, I was mildly fucking retarded too. The keyword delay. You have a delay in an area. Now you got to look at domestic violence victims a little different, right? When the police come and the domestic violence victim is like, don't touch my man, this is my baby. The police know the bitch is retarded. That's why the police be talking to them like they retarded. Ma'am, you all right? You need some rest? I'll pray for you, ma'am. That's how you talk to retarded people. It's mild retardation. It's a delay that you can get over. By the time but see, this is the thing. Now, it doesn't make you retarded when you don't know the information, right? So one of the things that it's many things I didn't know when I was a domestic violence victim. I didn't know about the domestic violence wheel. Okay. I didn't know about narcissism. So that you're not retarded when you don't know all the information. But I knew that I didn't like the way it felt and the way I was being treated. But the inability to leave it. So when, like my ex-husband, how that man hit my eye like that, hit me like a man, that cold-hearted, black, ugly demon, that man was ugly too. So he had an ugly spirit. For me to stay in the situation, because when he did that to me, I left the house for a week. I went out and stayed with my friend and coworker, Vicky. Oh, she was another interesting one. Boy, I'll do a whole video about that. But I appreciate her kindness. She let me stay at her house for a week over in Kirkland. And so my ex-husband decided to help me pay my new car payment. I had a brand new Honda Accord. So when I chose to take a vehicle payment as a reward for me to go back to the abuser, overtaking over my life, and I still had the injury, y'all. My eye was almost shut closed. It was black. It was horrific. It was horrific what that man did to me. And he caught me off guard. So when I chose to exchange money over safety, that's mild retardation. It's a delay there. And the reason it's mild retardation is because I was sober. See, I'm not a addict. I'm not high when I do it. So what the fuck do I have? Now, was I ever diagnosed with retardation? I don't need to be. I just diagnosed my fucking self. But I'm no longer mildly retarded. You couldn't pay me to fuck with abusers. Now, I do have other retarded people. They're black. Ladies, I have other retarded bitches that encourage me to go back where I came from. But I know they retarded. I know when I tell a lady that a man has threatened me and she tell me to call him, I know she kind of retarded too. There's a delay there. Mild retardation, if there's no brain trauma, tumors in the brain, those can be fixed in time. I wasn't delayed very long. But me not knowing what love bombing is, future faking, not knowing the, direct information, you're not retarded in that area. That's why I was mildly retarded. And eventually I fought back. So the day I get arrested for defending my life and I become a criminal, they call you a criminal. See, when you're not retarded no more and you beat a motherfucker down, now you're a criminal. That's a better position to be in now. It's real good. You want to be a criminal in jail because what's happening is you're recovering from being mildly retarded. Because what's better, fighting for your life and beating this son of a bitch down? Because it stops it, right? You're stopping the other retard from keeping you a retard. So the day I go in handcuffs, I'm free from mild retardation. And the judge told me that too. She never called me mildly retarded. But this is what the judge said at my arraignment hearing. She said, well, you're done with that. You're not going to put up with that anymore. But you will be a tenant in our penal system. And because you no longer have mild retardation, she just didn't use the word. She said, you're over that. She knows it's mild retardation too. She said, you're over that part of your life. But you're a penitentiary candidate. And I want to tell you what to do to not make that happen. And I followed every instruction, step by step, that judge gave me. And I still, right now to this day, follow it. And I've never been to prison. I also never went back to another jail. I was only there for a weekend. Because I was mildly retarded. I don't know what the fuck to say to the police. That's retardation too. When the cop knock and they question you and you say, yeah, you hear about that nigga? I'm mildly retarded. I'm getting ready to get myself arrested. Because I wasn't cool enough to explain the whole story. When the police knock, I'll never do that again. When the police knock, you could call the police on me now 8 times a day. I'm not going to nobody jail because I'm no longer mildly retarded. So when the police say, hey, Miss Irene, how you doing? What went on today? I'm going to explain what the predator did. Yeah, so I recovered from mild retardation. See, never listen to a person that studies on a subject and they cannot see themselves in that study. Don't listen to them. Because for one, they're giving you inaccurate information and they're denying you. 90% of Americans are suffering from retardation. And I'm going to give you another reason why. The foods, soda pop, processed foods. I rarely drink soda pop. It's a dementia chemical. It's a dementia chemical. No doctor will tell you this. I used to be addicted to Coca-Cola. It's a dementia chemical. Okay. Be careful with soda pop, especially dark sodas. Light sodas, Sprite, Mountain Dews, and stuff like that, they're intestinal burners. Those drinks can have you agitating your hernia. I have a hernia now on my left side. It can have you, but it's not a tumor-based hernia. It's a tissue-based hernia. So there's, as of now, there's no surgery needed. Okay. It's not a mine is just loose tissue, right? I ate a real spicy soup one day and blew a tissue out, right? And it's back now. However, I just have to be careful what I eat. Hold on one second. Yeah, but like I said, Natalie and everybody, I did 20 hours of study on the retardation issue, and I'm getting ready to start a fire. I smell smoke. Hold on, y'all. And don't let me cook. Don't let me cook nothing at y'all house. That's the second time within 2 weeks. Remember on another live, I smell smoke or steam. So all the water is boiled out, y'all. The pot's gone. Yeah, still suffering from mild retardation. That pot is fucked up. Okay, ain't a drop of water in it. 5-quart pot. Oh my God, it's gone. So I got it cooling off now. So yeah, so the thing is, my series on retardation, intellectual disability, developmental delay, there's different names. And different names apply to different circumstances, right? So the original term, okay, let me explain this, what they don't share with you. Retardation, the word itself, it was primarily addressed for situations where there was a developmental delay due to the child's circumstance. So for example, there was one little girl, she was locked in a doghouse for 5 years. So since most of her childhood, she was raised in the doghouse, when they finally discovered she was there, she barked. So at that point, she was retarded. So the word within itself was meant for situations where the person wasn't born like this, but they experienced a developmental delay due to circumstances, right? So if by the time you find a little girl or boy and they're 7 years old, she was on all fours, she barked like the dogs, so that causes a developmental delay. So she's went 7 years not knowing how to speak. So she's 7 years behind. So then when she starts speaking and learning English and realizing she can stand up and walk on 2 feet, because remember, she thinks she's supposed to walk on her hands, elbows, and knees, because she doesn't even realize she's human. Okay, if you've been locked in a doghouse with the dogs, you mimic what they're doing. So she doesn't know what she is until she's rescued and she's around other humans. But she still will be mildly to moderately retarded, and she will remain severely retarded until she starts walking and speaking. So the term retardation, and there was a lot of kids that were subjected to stuff like that. Especially during the days, I don't know if y'all remember the illness scarlet fever, the Victorians, they had a lot of deaths. So say there's 10 kids in a Victorian family, and both their parents died of scarlet fever. It took them out pretty quick. My son Elijah had scarlet fever before, y'all. It's still a condition you can get currently. Elijah had scarlet fever. So, and he had it about 10 years ago. Sure did. And the doctor called it that. She said, your son has scarlet fever. He was shriveling up, like his skin was turning like wrinkled. It was just fever that wouldn't go away. It was amazing. His back broke out. I was for sure that whatever he had would kill him. And when the pediatrician said scarlet fever, I'm like, wow, that's still going around? She said, yes, your son has scarlet fever. And of course, you know, fortunately, we have an antibiotic for it now. You know, back then in the Victorian days, they didn't have antibiotics left. They didn't have antibiotics because Mr. Fleming hadn't created penicillin yet. Okay, he was a European man. Yeah, I remember his last name. Y'all remember his first name? Mr. Fleming, the European man that created penicillin. I call him Mr. because I have so much respect for him. Because I've had several non-bloodstream infections that could have unalived me. You know, so he is the reason I'm not dead right now, because he created the antibiotic. Okay, so and he created it. It was kind of through a little experiment. He had plant fungus in a jar, and the ingredient that he came up with killed the black mold and fungus in the jar. He had a jar and he put a lid on it. He was a bored man. A bored man, a highly intelligent bored man, created our antibiotics in Europe. So he let the little shit grow. He seen it got black, and whatever ingredients he came up with, which is part of what's in the antibiotic, killed the fungus. Okay, so that's how his experiment began. A highly intelligent man that was bored playing around with a fucking jar is why billions and trillions of people life has been saved. He was just a bored white man over in Europe. He didn't have a bunch of friends. And he decided that he gonna keep playing around with this shit. Then he got more than one jar. So he was fascinated. Mr. Fleming, when he realized that the fungus was dying, he said, oh, let me get another jar. He kept doing it. Next thing you know, he had all these jars. And next thing you know, he tells people what he found. And there's thousands and thousands of people. Is it Alex Fleming? Let me see. Let's show this man some respect. Hold on. Hold on, let's find him here. Yep, Alexander Fleming. I was right. I called him Alex. But yeah, Alexander Fleming. They're assassinating this man's character, y'all. Listen what they're gonna say. This is hateful. Listen, please listen. He was a poor man that discovered it too. So there's discrimination there. They're saying Alexander Fleming did not create antibiotics, but he discovered penicillin. Penicillin is the reason we got fucking antibiotics, y'all. Okay, he created antibiotics. Please give me a fucking break. He was a poor white man. He did it from his home. Be careful what you read, okay? He is the reason antibiotics exist. Doctors give him credit for it. Probably if he was in America, he would get more credit. They don't want to pay the man, y'all. It's about money. They don't want to give him full credit because they got to give him some money. Okay. There was lawsuits and other things involved and a lot of stuff that this man went through, inclusive of death threats, y'all. When you discover something, the medical field wasn't happy with his discovery because it did not keep people sick as long. If you take penicillin, it wipes out most of your symptoms or all of your symptoms. Okay, and it doesn't allow the infection to breed, to paralyze you, where you need 800 more hospital stays and surgeries. Okay, so Alexander Fleming did create the antibiotic. He did. Ignore what it says online. It's only giving him credit for creating penicillin. But without penicillin, what is penicillin? It's an antibiotic, right? So everything else comes from penicillin. Somebody got to create the first thing. Amoxicillin. What does that say? Cillin, right? I was just talking about amoxicillin augmentin on my last live, I think. Cillin, anything with cillin comes from penicillin. Then you got your cephalexins, you got your lexins, and you got your cillins. It all originated from the original cillins. They're different strands of antibiotics, but you gotta find penicillin first. Without finding penicillin, you don't find any other antibiotic. So he is the creator of antibiotics because he is who founded penicillin. Like I said, he was a poor white man. He wasn't very popular until he discovered penicillin. He stayed to himself. He wasn't a great socialite in Europe, and he was just a normal man. He's not a narcissist, wasn't narcissistic. He was just normal. So they don't want to give this normal, low-income European man credit for what he did, but I'm going to give him credit because I've done my studying on antibiotics and I've been saved by antibiotics since I've been a little girl. Okay. Without antibiotics, I wouldn't be here. Okay. So Alexander Fleming created antibiotics. Because remember, he got to create penicillin first. If he hadn't discovered penicillin, everybody just still be dying all out in the street. That's what was going on. Victorian days, back in the 1800s, all 10 kids get up for breakfast and mom and dad in the bed. They died after getting them some, y'all. They fucked and died from scarlet fever. Sure did. And they think they died from fucking, but they died from scarlet fever. It's an infection. Elijah had it, and he had to take an antibiotic. Okay. And I think Elijah had a combination of Zithromax and amoxicillin. I think he was on a couple of antibiotics, but one was amoxicillin. So anything that ends with cillin comes from penicillin. It's a strand. It's a strand of penicillin. Okay. And that had to be created for all the other antibiotics to come out. So thank you, Alexander Fleming. We love you and appreciate you. And he's super handsome, but you know, in Europe, because he's like what you call it, homely like, and he wasn't very fashionable. He wasn't flashy. He was just he wasn't one of the men walking around with the big watches and stuff like that. So he wasn't a very flashy man. He's just a normal man. And he was bored and he discovered it and he did it right from his home. Ultimately, he had his own labs and stuff. I mean, he advanced because he discovered this. He's a scientist. Alexander Fleming, not Flemington, Alexander Fleming. He's a scientist. And you don't have to get a degree to say you're a scientist. Okay. The fact that you're creating something makes you a scientist. You're creating something that goes into the body. So at that point, you are a scientist. You don't need to be in school to be considered a scientist. Okay. So yeah, that's basically that. So going back to the series I'm going to be starting on retardation, developmental delay, and intellectual disability. One of my motivators, I'm going to go back in history and I want you to understand the racial reasons why they call them psychopaths instead of acknowledging their retardation. It's also something that they avoid because they want people locked up when they kill. So in America, and it's nothing wrong with that. If somebody murders a 4-year-old and our country decides they should never get out of prison, they want them to be under the psychopath diagnosis. Because there's laws in some states for medical reasons. And certain medical diagnoses make a person incompetent to stand trial, and it makes them sometimes not eligible to be sent to prison. So if they just started calling all murderers retarded, half of them will never enter prison because of our disability laws. Now, there was one man in particular that was on one of the prison stories, and he had cerebral palsy and was crippled, and he ended up in the penitentiary, and he was being brutally raped every day, and he barely could walk, and he had cerebral palsy. But usually they avoid sending a person with the disabling condition like cerebral palsy in the penitentiary. I have a cousin in our family that has cerebral palsy, and she was not a lady that was in and out of domestic violence relationships. And so I'm way more, my cousin that has cerebral palsy, she is not retarded. I was more mildly retarded than her, and she has cerebral palsy because it is mild retardation. But remember, the delay can be overcome. Okay. It's just a delay when it's mild. And it didn't take me very long to figure it out. I mean, you got to remember, Daniel and them are quite old. So this is over 2 decades ago that I discovered. I didn't just figure it out, but some people's delay. Miss Angel has the delay right now. She's also she's moderately to severely retarded. And another evidence of it, Miss Angel was just telling me that her daughter, her only daughter, was in a relationship with a guy. And the guy told Miss Angel he can't stay with Miss Angel's daughter because she's too childlike. Okay. And he needs to be with a woman. So some men will know that the woman's retarded as well. Because that's what he's saying. He's saying her daughter's retarded. I need a woman. I can't be with this childlike adult. So the boyfriend of Miss Angel's daughter is acknowledging the retardation without using the word. So it means it's genetic as well. So Miss Angel is telling you that her only daughter is retarded. So it explains Miss Angel's condition. I believe my grandmother had a dose of it. My mama. And remember, it's going to be just like, remember the dog story I was telling you about the girl locked with the dogs? Remember, when you have had absent parents, neglectful parents, that creates a delay, right? You don't have to call it retardation. You can call it developmental delay. You can call it, they replaced retardation with intellectual disability because not everyone is actually retarded. They have to use different words because there's so many different variations of it. However, my motivation to start the series is I want you to understand the racial component, and I want you to understand the insecurity that white people developed and why they don't want to call certain individuals retarded. And I'm gonna attach the videos when I do the retardation series. I don't know what I'm gonna name it. I'm not gonna name it retardation. That way I don't get the trolls and the videos are not taken down. Remember, this channel is like a membership channel, but you don't pay for the membership. So my videos, a lot of people would charge for the videos I do, like that mental retardation series. That's something people would pay for. I know they would. But on here, you get it for free, which is what I want here. And you can Cash App me, and donate or whatever, but you can get it for free. And it doesn't mean it's of no value because I'm just letting you know how much you save here, because this is really a membership channel, but I'm not charging you for the membership. And how I do that is I name my video in confidentiality. So when I come up with the retardation series, it's not going to be named that. So not everybody has access to it. So it's like a members only thing, but you're getting it for free. Okay. So yeah, I'm like I said, I've done 20 hours of study on it. My motivation, number one motivation, is I'm sick of white motherfucking psychopaths being called fucking geniuses. Also in the series, I'm going to explain to you actually what a genius is. Okay, first of all, Paris Bennett, if he was a fucking genius, because you kind of like born a genius. You a genius by the time you at least 7 or 8. They discover you're a fucking genius. If he was a motherfucking genius when he was left alone with his 4-year-old sister, and he also sexually assaulted her too, and they hide that in the media. He sexually assaulted his fucking sister. That same day, he stabbed her up. If he was a motherfucking genius, a genius, you could leave alone with a 4-year-old and they won't sexually assault or unalive the 4-year-old. That's a genius. And some of the geniuses actually are mentally retarded. Gonna show you the videos. I'm gonna put them in the description box on those videos that I do. So check this out. White people, they call people retarded too, sometimes based on how they look. So if you had a great big old motherfucking head that's like 3 watermelon sizes, a white person would call you retarded because you don't meet their beauty standard. But actually, that big 3-headed, big as 3 watermelon head motherfucker, you could have left that person with the 4-year-old. And he would have taught them their ABCs. That's the genius. So, okay. So I want to clarify this. When I talk about the mental retardation, I will be telling you how some of the people that have mental retardation that are high functioning are the real geniuses. They just have a glitch. Like I acknowledged in an area, I was mildly retarded due to domestic violence that I got in more than once. And so that was a glitch, but I'm smart as hell. You can leave your 4-year-old with me, and I'm not going to stab him or her up and sexually assault him. I wouldn't do that. So those are the geniuses. See, white people declared you were a genius due to book smarts. That's a start. That can enter you in the genius realm. But if you don't have enough sense to understand not to murder a 4-year-old, Athena Strand. I got an Athena Strand playlist. And that FedEx driver that murdered her, he's retarded too. He's severely retarded and has been so since childhood. The average rapist is severely retarded. See, they lied. They told you it's just a crime of control. They also teach you that it's not sex they're interested in. That's a fucking lie. Somebody that rape you, they are interested in fucking sex. They want to bust a nut. They want fucking pussy. Okay? Or ass, whatever they trying to get. So they do want sex. And through getting the sex, they feel like they have power and control. But the average rapist is mentally retarded as well. And they're usually moderately, which would mean medium, or severely retarded. That's why China don't come over here to unalive us. Would you look, with the best machines, China got the best stuff. They could take us out of here tomorrow. They have compassion. Them Chinese men know that the average American is mentally retarded. They watch the videos. And it begins in upbringing. Remember, I was smothered out. Okay, at 9, I was smothered out. You think I'm not going to end up with mild retardation and something? But I'm more of a genius than Paris Bennett. So there's going to be what appear to be some contradictions, but I'm just going to be breaking down the details. And it's going to be very interesting. And I'm going to like those series. That the retardation series that I'm going to be doing, it's going to be equivalent to the narcissist and text messaging. It's going to be probably ongoing for life. And I like those series because it provokes study. It provokes study. And remember, I told y'all YouTube is a key to not getting dementia. Okay, constant study is a protector from dementia because you're constantly using the creative part of your brain. I won't get dementia because I'm a content creator. It just won't happen. My brain is being stimulated too much. It ain't no dead spots in my brain. So yeah. So what was I gonna name this video? Thank you, Natalie, for moderating. This is gonna be more of the comparison of the wicked and what I found out, the parent, Jaleisha. So we now know information of where Daniel, sort of his main hangout is at, right? And so she has substance use disorder. It's probably a sociopath. She's aware that what I do, I hold people legally accountable. I suspect I will be putting her in the policing system. I will be putting her in the policing system because Daniel has heart problems and asthma, and she allows him to smoke and vape and do whatever he wants to do. And if he were to die or have any sort of heart attack or attack, whether it be mild to deadly, I would want her held accountable for my son's life. I can't change her household. And legally, I do not have the right to make Daniel leave from being a visitor there. Okay. She lives in a prior apartment complex that we used to live at. And if she wasn't a weed head, she could be living where we live now, which is over down the street in homes. So I don't live there anymore because I upgraded. I left 1,000 square feet apartment to move to 2,000 square feet home. I'm still renting, but I upgraded. Okay. And some people don't appreciate your upgrade. Daniel, I guess he want to downgrade. He want to go back over there. But even in that apartment complex, when I had it was about 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet, whatever size my 3-bedroom apartment was at the time. I loved it. It was beautiful over there. The apartments are very nice. However, it's what goes on inside the apartments that's the problem. Okay. So that's one of Daniel's hangouts. So this is more of the comparison of the wicked, what I found out. So we at least know who that parent is. So I wrote some notes to go over so I would remember some things I wanted to mention. Thank you, Natalie. So, hold on. So, okay. Where does my conscious, I'm coughing, y'all. The steam. I ain't even cook no food and I'm coughing, y'all. And I'm way upstairs. Damn, steam. A steaming pot with no freaking water in it. Let me see if I can try it again. Hold on one minute, y'all. So we're gonna take another 4-minute break so I could go check out what's down there. Okay. I'm gonna go check out the scene. Be right back. Thank you, Natalie. Oh, y'all, my home organizer came today too, y'all. So she came this morning. I'll be doing some videos to show you some of my decorative stuff that I have going on here, just so you can get an idea of what I like and stuff. And I'll show you some of my artwork and oil paintings and stuff and the type of stuff I like. I'll do a couple of videos like that at some point. Um, but this home organizer really helps. I love her service. And sometimes she just drops by to say hi. She's like a really kind-hearted visitor. Sometimes she comes by and like paying a nice lady to stop by to see me, right? It's kind of like a type of therapist spirit coming into the house. She's a black lady. She's a real pretty chocolate lady. She's married. Um, she kind of a little rich. She got the Volvo, the husband, and she got one son. And I just love her. So she's known in the community, and I trust her coming in the house. And like I said, sometimes she just come by. Today she came by to say hi, and I had got rid of. I had 20 pounds of garbage, 4 13-gallon bags of garbage. Yeah. So oh yeah, for thank you, Natalie, for saying 4 minute break. So yeah, so I took these notes because this is more of the comparison of the wicked, right? And I didn't do the full 4 minutes, y'all. But I was able to save the pot. So just mild retardation there with the pot. I thought it was gone because when I saw that it was still cooking with no water. Yeah, home organizer. She's like I call her a home organizer, but I don't. Okay, this is the thing. Sometimes they're like interior decorators, but they don't have the degree, so they just go under home organizer. It's kind of like caregivers. Some of them, they don't have their RN. They're not registered nurses, so they just call themselves caregivers. So she helps with uncluttering because I had a clutter situation in my garage. So sometimes she don't do nothing. She just come by and talk. I just fell in love with her when she first started helping me. Also, she's utilizing my household to explore ideas. So when she first started coming in here, she was like, wow, I'm actually learning something from your house on how to better. Like she'll come in here and she'll use ideas for her place. And she'll tell her other clients that really have more disorder how to do things, right? Because I'm very resourceful. And she likes my strategies that I use. And so she's becoming like a good friend that gets paid to come over. Her service is very low cost, but her service helps me because she's coming in the home. And so whenever I know she coming, it makes me just find shit in the closets to throw away because I know she's coming over, right? And I just love her company. She was here today, maybe 30 minutes, and she's becoming kind of like a friend of mine, right? So all I know is that when she comes over, the spirit of my home gets better. And it's 2,000 square feet, you can clutter, y'all. Especially a garage. You could fuck a garage up. You hear me? You can stack in that motherfucker. You have 200 dead guys in your garage, all packed up in ice. For real. I don't have no shit like that, but I'm just saying. And I would never do anything like that. So, yeah, so that's it. Yeah, she's very cool. So she came by today. So let me read this text. Natalie, don't let me forget this boiled water because I was able to save the pot. I thought the pot was gone because I seen how the middle of it like started to stand up and shit on the stove. So whenever I see a pot like standing, like it's on a pedestal, I'm thinking the pot just fucking gone. But I took it off the eye because it's cooking the pot with no steam in it. But the water, I mean with no water. So the water must have just have dried out. So yeah, what I did this time, I put more water in there so it doesn't boil out so quick. So I'm just proving my retardation. You're gonna find other areas. You're gonna be like, nah, she just not mildly retarded with that domestic violence. She's got a delay with cooking too. But I'm a genius because remember, what can I do just like a dog? Smell. A lot of people, they don't smell steam. I can smell it and feel it. So the steam makes this room hotter. I feel hot and I'm nowhere near it. I'm way, way upstairs. Okay. So, and I'm not above the kitchen. I'm over in the makeshift studio room, the shade side. So I'm not, this room ain't over the kitchen at all. It's way away. I would have to go on the other side of the building to be over the kitchen. Okay. So yeah, so do 2 minutes, Natalie. Thank you. This is why you need a moderator. I won't burn this motherfucking house down. Okay, so Daniel's exploitation. So now since we know Jaleesa's one of the houses he'll be at. She's a single lady. She used to be with a woman that was a stud. So when I first met Jaleesa several years ago, she was in a homosexual relationship with a stud. And so, you know, see, this is the thing with Daniel. Remember, he's saved and baptized Christian guy, right? So our friends at the church, Tuli and Jessica, they have a son and daughter named Camille and Mason. But see, Tuli and Jessica, their testimony is all over the state, even on thousands and thousands of people know their testimony. So Tuli and Jessica, before they had Mason and Camille, they were both addicts. So I guess I would consider Tuli and Jason the chosen ones because now they've developed an addiction to the church. So they're no longer addicts. So Tuli and Jessica, especially Tuli, which is the husband, and he's a man of color. These are not white people. They're Hispanic. Okay. So Tuli and Jessica, they know about Daniel's addiction and they want to help and save Daniel. They have been since the moment they met Daniel. Yeah, I might need more time. Thank you, Natalie. So the thing is, okay, so remember, I talked about this on another video, how you get your result. Okay. So remember, whatever you put in, you get a result. And this is not a bad result. See, the thing is, Tuli and Jessica, people have had an addiction. I think Jessica's father was addicted to alcohol as well. So when they have an addiction and they've been raised by addicts and they don't necessarily know the non-addict way. It's just like one of the things that addicts will do, they call their drug buddies friends. I would never call someone I regularly got high with my fucking friend because I know that that's my enemy. I would know that that's my enemy even if I did have an addiction. But I've seen several addicts use this terminology, inclusive of Chaka Khan. She often would call Whitney Houston her friend. And she said that they had the best friendship. And if you ask Chaka Khan why, She said, because she loved getting high with Whitney Houston. She's not Whitney Houston's friend. Okay. Shaka Khan is not her friend. So people that you get high with on a regular basis is not your friend. Now, if you just, y'all had a little sip of wine once a year together, those two people are not addicts. I said addicts. Addicts are not your friend. So this lady that was at Miss Angel house, Jack, she's on meth. So I've noticed this pattern of people with addiction. And Daniel, he will refer to these other addicts as his friends. And oftentimes they won't consider the non-addicts their friend. Daniel won't consider me and Isaiah a good friend. We're non-addicts. So they call their smoker friends and their alcoholism friends, they call them friends. So this is a pattern that they will do. So the result I got, I have been placed in a lot of addicts' life to help them with their life. And some addicts listen. So Thule and Jessica listen. I've seen them trying to help Daniel. But they would bring Daniel to their house. And oftentimes Daniel would be, hanging out with Camille and Mason at the house. But see, I know how Thule is. Thule and Jessica are empaths. If you're empaths, you're not going to stay on dope. So empaths are not normal. So Thule and Jessica, they want better for Daniel. However, the danger of it is if they go in the room and they see Daniel having sex with Camille and giving Camille and Mason dope, these are our church friends, right? Thule could kill Daniel. Okay, so my job is to protect all of them. However, I have this little glitch to my personality, right? And the glitch to my personality is I will save who can be saved, even if they're not a blood relative. So I knew that, and I know that Daniel has had his addiction for several years. Statistically, Thule them are Hispanic. Thule looked like he mixed with part black too. I think Thule mixed. Because whatever else he mixed with, he used to have nappy ass hair. And he's brown as Daniel. So I think Thule maybe is mixed with a little black, but Jessica's full-blooded Hispanic. So, and Mason looked like he kind of got black people hair too. So they're melanated people. These are not white people. Okay. So I look at logic. Okay. Thule and Jessica, they supposed to be ex-addicts. They're free of it now, right? Thule's suffering the consequences of his addiction because he does have heart problems now, but he's a pacemaker and a fibrillator, whatever you call it, a fibrillator, whatever that thing is. He has 2 devices in his heart, keeping his heart afloat. So that's good for Thule. So he'll live out some extra years. So he'll be able to finish raising Camille and Mason. Camille is their daughter. So they had this compassion for Daniel and still have it to this day. Now what they do is when Daniel comes around, they supervise the visits. So they no longer, from what I know of, are leaving Daniel alone with their children. Because I asked Camille and Thule that. Because see, with my family, people think I'm not a normal personality. I'm not pro-predator. So if I see Daniel as predatory or exploitative, I'm kind of on his side in certain areas, but I'm really not on his side. I don't like predators. So I try to save who I can save. So When Tuli and Jessica were very concerned about Daniel because they believe Jesus gonna say today, right? Which is false. It's false. It is. Um, you gotta say today and stop putting the pipe to your mouth. Jesus is not getting ready to come and take a motherfucking pipe out your mouth. Jesus gives you the information and he set the example not to have a pipe in his mouth. So you got to follow Jesus' teaching. But if you're too retarded to do that, we're talking about retardation as well. If you don't follow the example of Jesus, then you have severe retardation in the drug area because Jesus didn't have a pipe to his mouth. Okay, so Tuli and Jessica has the delusion that everybody gonna get off dope if they love Jesus just like they did. But remember, Daniel will be in a different statistic. Daniel is a black boy. Most black boys that have done drugs on and off for 4 years now, they usually don't come off of it. It's a racial statistic that person usually will die from an overdose. Because Daniel has been on substances at least 4 years now, that's reduced his chance of being substance free just because he's black. Because you want to get into black statistics, not Hispanic statistics. Okay. Yes, there's a lot of Hispanic people that do find Jesus and stay off dope, but not Negroes. Okay. So when Hispanic people find Jesus and they've hung in there with Jesus for a while, they have a better outcome. I've seen it for myself. Okay. But Daniel's not Hispanic. So Tuli and Jessica, they really, was vouching for Daniel. And even when he ran off to the shelter last year, they were supporting Daniel. And I don't go to church every Sunday. Tuli and Jessica, they may feel like if I went to church more, that it would save Daniel. Church ain't gonna save Daniel. It don't matter. If actually, when we go to church with Daniel, let me tell you what he does. He hates that we're there. So when Isaiah and I see Daniel at church, Daniel wants us to leave. Because for one, I had stopped a lot of those kids when we were at the old, smaller church. I had to stop a lot of Daniel friends and a lot of kids from smoking dope in the church bathroom. This is what was happening when we had the smaller church. They were using Pastor Dan's church as the dope house. And Pastor Dan and Pastor Diane thank me for getting rid of that problem. Because see, I don't try to save them. When I find out the kid is coming to church with Daniel and Elijah was there as well, and they smoking dope in the bathroom, I tell the kid they can't come back. I'm not trying to save you. Don't come back here, please. You got to get, those are not church people. So a true Christian would respect the house of the Lord too much to do that in the bathroom. And as a result of doing that, it put a better spirit in the church. They have a new church. It's like a kingdom now. They got blessed with a bigger church. The church ain't going to get bigger when you let the church be the crack house. All them little motherfucking youth and teens that was coming to Daniel church to smoke dope, none of those motherfuckers are there. They're all gone. The only one still left is Daniel, because I'm protecting Daniel as well. And the ones I can protect. So Tuli and Jessica, they wanted to save Daniel. But I don't like a person that don't look out for their fucking own situation. So I told Tuli and Jessica, I said, this is what's happening. Because see, they don't really know what the devil really doing. So I have to tell them about the devil. I said, this is what's happening to you. The devil wants you to have compassion for Daniel. You're going to think it's the Lord putting it in your heart to have compassion for my son. But that's the devil telling you to do that, because what the devil wants to do is use my son. Oh, the water. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Thank you, Natalie, so much. Hold on, because I denied you the break music. Hold on. 4 minutes, y'all. 4 minutes. Okay, y'all, I'm back. Natalie, are you still there? Thank you so much, dear heart. So, what was I saying? So Tuli and Jessica got cut with Mason. They're our church friends. And Tuli and Jessica used to be addicts. I guess they would be considered the chosen ones because remember the psychologist Carl Jung said that addicts are the chosen ones. Oh, and Natalie, on that video, I did put the Carl Jung videos in the description box talking about drug addicts or the God or God's chosen ones. So I did add those in the description box. So go back in the last few videos and check the description box. And remember to click on more. So when you go in the description box, I'm not saying everybody's dumb, but I didn't know to click on more. When I used to check people description box, I didn't know to check on more. So it's over. It's one of my last 4 lives where, Carl Jung, I found the videos and I put them down there for you. Okay. And so, so Tuli and Jessica are ex-addicts. So remember, the devil is already, and I don't even like to blame it on the devil, but with addiction, I am going to kind of blame some of this on the devil. So they got Camille and Mason, their daughter and son, beautiful spirited kids. So what the devil would want is for those kids to become addicts, because the devil would want Camille and Mason, Tuli and Jessica's children, to become addicts so that what? Tuli and Jessica could relapse. Just like I have addicts. The devil is targeting me. I'm a non-addict with addicts, so the devil wants me to commit suicide. I'm the target. The devil wants to get both of us. He gets Daniel through having Daniel follow the devil. And Daniel is not a boy that believes in the Lord. So I assessed early on, let me tell you something. If Daniel believed in any decent Lord that was in a heavenly place, you talk about the Lord that's living in a heaven. And I do not believe in the Lord that they teach in the Bible that's doing all the wicked stuff. That's the devil. So the Bible is a assassination of character, because it'll tell you that the Lord is unaliving all these people when the devil's doing it. I do not believe no heavenly Lord is doing all that horrible shit. That's not the Lord I believe in. So I believe in the good Lord, the Lord that gives you mercy, that wouldn't kill you. The Lord ain't killing you, you're killing yourself. If Daniel dies, the Lord ain't killing him. He's doing that shit to himself. We blame so much on the Lord. The Lord has the most assassinated character of any spirit in the universe. Anything bad that happened, the Lord did it. The Lord did it. It's all lies. The Lord ain't doing none of that stuff. Half the shit I thought the devil was doing to me, the devil wasn't even doing it. I did it. I was making mildly retarded choices, remember? So with Tuli and Jessica, our friends at the church, they're devout Christians. They're always in spiritual danger of the devil because now the church is their new addiction. So you can't be addicted to none of it. So if Pastor Dan's church closes down, Tuli and Jessica would be at risk of relapsing. Because remember, they're relying on their new addiction, which is the church, to keep them from their old drug addiction. And I talked to them about that too. Okay. So the church, it did help Daniel get off substances for the periods that it does. At least he stays off a year, then he relapsed for 2 or 3 months. So Daniel's up and down. So Tuli and Jessica, I explained to them what was really happening. Yeah, you want to save Daniel, but statistically, because of his race. He's least likely to be saved because the black man will not do enough to save himself. That is why the black man is the longest person to serve as a slave. They're not about it, y'all. Okay, these are fucking pussies. Okay, so if I was a slave, I would have probably been fighting Massa more than my man. He would have been snitching on me, which is what the husbands did in slavery. Massa, Millie says she gonna run away tonight. My wife Millie gonna run from us, Massa. When you lose a Massa, I lose a Massa. What was we gonna do about Millie? I don't want to lose my wife that you says I could have, Massa. I'm gonna lose my wife that you says that I could have, Massa, because you the one that said I could have Millie. Massa, can you do something about this, please? Because I'm gonna lose my wife that you says as I could have, and you gonna lose your important slave. Millie's having all the babies that's filling up the plantation, Massa. You gave me permission to fuck Millie so we can have the babies filling up the plantation, Massa. So, Massa, I need your help. Because if she run off, I don't get no more pussy, Massa. And you says I can't fuck your wife, Massa. You said if I come near the house again to fuck your wife, you're going to kill me. So please, Massa, can you please not let Millie leave us? You says I can't beat Millie, Massa. Because the rule is and the law is that only you could beat your wife, Massa. But once I get free, I'm going to beat Millie ass. And I'm going to be on the FBI list for one black man killing a black woman every 5.5 hours, because you're not going to keep me being a slave forever, Massa. So eventually I'm going to get these bitches. Massa, stop Millie. She's running away tonight. I don't know the times, Massa. You won't let me learn how to read, and I'm okay with that, Massa. If you don't think I need to know how to read and know what time it is, Massa, I understand. Because, Massa, you is making the most important decision for me and Millie and our little nigger children. You are the best thing, Massa, that could have ever happened to me, Millie, and the niggers out there. You have given me a promotion. You said that I can sleep in here because you say Negroes sleep a lot and the children can work. Yeah. They snitched, y'all. Black men, it's not the best situations. Okay? With Tuli and Jessica at the church, I explained to them what the devil's really doing. So the devil wants you to help Daniel. See, because I know Daniel ain't got no morals. And Daniel and Elijah have had a history of giving younger children drugs. So Camille and Mason are a little younger than Daniel, especially Camille. So, and Camille would be at risk of someone that's on drugs, whether it be Daniel or another boy, having sex with her, because drug addicts want sex too. So I said, Tuli and Jessica, you're focused on the wrong thing. You want to save Daniel, but you got to save yourself. So this is what I suggest. I'm going to give you some non-drug addict advice because I'm not an addict. Going to church, not going to church. I'm not going to be addicted to drugs and alcohol. So you know Daniel's an addict, so you should watch your children, and you should not be allowing children that are addicted around around Camille and Mason. I said, that's how I raised Daniel, and he's still an addict. Like those children that Daniel's hanging out with, they can't come in my house. If I know the child smoke weed, they cannot come around my child. I raised my children like that. So I was suggesting to Tuli and Jessica that they consider that. You're off drugs now. So you should not be entertaining people like Daniel or anyone that's on substances, because you're supposed to be freeing your family of that. Now, if you want to help addicts, go get you a business, non-for-profit organization where you do that. And I assured Tuli and Jessica that you're not going to be able to save my son. He has to save himself. He knows about Jesus. He needs to save himself. So that was the information I gave. So Tuli and Jessica, they still hang around Daniel at the church. However, they supervise it more. Yeah, it is sad, Natalie. I agree. So where I can live in comfort is you can't save the demonic kids, Natalie. You want to save them. You can try to save them, but you won't have the full power to save them. So in this case, I wouldn't care what race Tuli and Jessica is, but you know, Hispanics, they have a high statistic of drug abuse too, and incarceration. So the bottom line is, yes, Daniel is being allowed to smoke drugs, do alcohol, shrooms, and all of that right at Jaleesa's with Jashawn, her son Jashawn. But I still saved Camille and Mason, which is Tuli and Jessica's children at the church. They listened to me because they was giving Daniel too much unsupervised visits with their children that will be prone to drug abuse. So see, Tuli and Jessica, I had to tell them what the pastor ain't gonna tell them. That when you got baptized and saved, your drug demon did not leave your family. It went nowhere. It's still waiting over in the shadows for you to fuck up so it can attack your children. The church sells them a lie. Oh, you get baptized and saved in the name of Jesus Christ, all your problems go away. No, the devil, wait. He ain't gone no motherfucking where. He just hid out for a while because he feel powerless. Because you overtook his power temporarily, but the devil is still waiting for you to make a dumbass move. Let me go get this charger, y'all. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. So, what people will do, they'll listen and they still, people love my kids, y'all. Tuli and Jessica, they was on Daniel's side. People adore my children. They love Daniel. But they are not supposed to be sacrificing their own children for Daniel, because I wouldn't do it for them. I would not sacrifice my children to help anybody's child. It's ungodly. When Tuli and Jessica became parents, and they chose to become parents drug-free, it's one of the most beautiful testimonies you could ever watch in your life. Now, I could say, remember I said, I don't agree with Carl Jung that all addicts are the chosen ones. But remember I said, if you are able to become drug-free, then I would consider you a chosen one. You got to show me you off the dope. And remember, Tuli and Jessica are both empaths. That's why I had to protect them more. They're not narcissists. Tuli was raped, y'all, at 6 years old by his grown-ass uncle. I'm tearing up now. Oh. Tuli cried to me. He said, Miss Irene, how can you rape a 6-year-old? And Tuli wants to bring his motherfucking predator uncle. His uncle was old when he raped him. Yeah, the husband is Tuli, the Christian man that's black and Hispanic. So his motherfucking old ass uncle, when Tuli was 6, his uncle was about 40 or whatever. He was fucking old. He wasn't even a 20-year-old uncle. His motherfucking, however old his uncle was, it don't matter. He was over 25. He took his dick and put it in Tuli's ass. He was fucking Tuli when Tuli was 6. So, I have balance to the church. Really. The church is very sometimes Jim Jones like. Pastor Dan is like Jim Jones, but not the sick version. Pastor Dan don't give you the cyanide in the Kool-Aid. He's not no weirdo, right? But Tuli, he said, because remember, Tuli's an empath. He's an empath. So is Jessica. So empaths are irrational because he's not an aware empath. He's unaware. Okay. So an aware empath makes better choices. Okay. Logical choices. Okay. So Tuli wants his uncle saved. He wants his uncle to give himself to Jesus and go to heaven. I said, Tuli, your uncle will not enter heaven, sir. He's not entering no heaven. So Tuli said, Tuli and Jessica, they, especially Tuli, he wants to get his uncle saved, because he's a child rapist. He's claimed he forgiven him, and he wants to bring him to the church. I said, Tuli, if you bring your rapist ass uncle to the church, the man that you just told me, see, the problem is I'm an empath too, Tuli, and I believe he fucked you at 6. I know you're not lying. I said, if you bring him up in this church, I'ma kill him. So me and your uncle going to fucking hell. I said, don't you bring that nigga to this church. I said, Tuli, it's fine for you to forgive your rapist ass uncle. But if you bring him up in this church, he gonna die. Tuli decided he's not bringing him to church. I said, but what you can do is find that rapist motherfucker another church and send that bitch to that church. Text him and give him another church location. But he better not come up in here. A fucking weirdo stuck his dick in you and was raping you in your ass when you was 6. He better not come up in here. So Tuli doesn't bring him around for safety reasons. So, empaths like Tuli and Jessica, they need balance. And I provide the proper balance. That's very improper. I said, and this is why it ain't right to bring him up in here. There's no cure for him liking to fuck kids. And it's wrong of you to be only concerned about your rapist ass uncle when all these babies are here. We have classes for the children, and we should be protecting the children and your children. You got Camille and Mason here. Don't you bring your rapist ass uncle to this church, because I'm going to go tell Pastor Dan that man fucked 6-year-olds. Okay? Because I am a great friend to Pastor Dan. I've had to get other people like this out the church. I've had to tell Pastor Dan what they do, and he had to make moves, legal moves on motherfuckers. Yeah. I said, you can't, that ain't right. You can't bring your it's no cure for that nigga. You giving him a platform to find other kids, and that's wicked. That motherfucker not gonna get saved ever. And he will enter hell. Because he probably fucking another kid in y'all family right now with his bitch ass. So, you know, actually that helped Thule kind of heal some too. Somebody gotta be the tough one. God damn. Everybody can't be singing the "We Shall Overcome" speech when we in war times. Somebody gotta go get the damn AKs. So I'm gonna help y'all do that, right? And it's not because I'm a narcissist. It's Natalie silly. Natalie funny. Yes. That is kind of funny, huh? Well, see, I'm comfortable with my narcissistic traits that will come out. Because remember, empaths, they have narcissistic traits. So they're able to, in certain situations, put their empathy to the side for a moment to handle certain things to protect us more. Because remember, empaths, they have a lot of emotional thinking. But Thule agreed that he should not be at the church around the other children. And I said, and it is improper when you know your uncle raped you to bring Camille and Mason, your children, around your sick ass uncle. Because I said, I'm going to tell you what else predators do. He may not touch Camille and Mason, but do you know that he will masturbate about them? He can sit there in service and you watch the motherfucker. But when he gets home, he's going to jack off thinking about fucking your children. Don't you bring that weirdo up in this fucking church. Because I'm going to be fucking pissed. And I said, I'm going to fight and argue with that bitch and embarrass everybody. I'm going to tell the whole church what the motherfucker did. Sure am. I'm going to snitch him out. I'm going to say, you see that motherfucker right there? He raped. Remember Thule? He told thousands and thousands of y'all he was raped at 6. There go the bitch right there. Jump him, y'all. Jump that nigga. So Thule and Jessica love me a lot. But they had to get to understand me. And I had to teach them the correct area they should have, the empathy. The empathy shouldn't be for the predator. I said, is that predator saved yet? I said, he don't want to be saved because he's still fucking around with children, Thule. That motherfucker know about Jesus. He got a TV. I know he got a TV because he's a child molester. He probably on the dark web watching kiddie porn. He probably still masturbating about what he did to you, Thule. And you should have seen Thule's face. He was like, ugh. Because you know that thinking about his uncle disgusted him, you know. And you know what? When Thule cried, he cried. And I was hugging and holding Thule, right? You know, when you look at him, you still see the 6-year-old. You still see the 6-year-old. You do. Woo, Thule handsome, honey. That's a fine Hispanic and black man. Think he's biracial, right? And he looks like Daniel's real uncle. What we have to do, okay. Hold on. The device has to cool down. So we have to take a break. So what I will have to do is Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So I will have to take a 15-minute break to let the device cool down. So I'll be right. So I want to cut it off now so I can take the break.